Now I will show you several very frequently used automations that you might use in your own business. Those automations do not require any previous setup, except of course pasting the script on your website, which I suppose you have already done. So all you will have to do is just automate the process just as I do it right here, and they will work. In this automation, what we want to achieve is to send a chat message saying, hey, welcome back on our website, to people who haven't been active on the website for the last 24 hours. Of course, we only want to send this message once to each user because it would seem artificial if someone would come back and again and always receive this message, hey, welcome back. Alright, so we're going to start with a page visit trigger, of course. We will not have to configure it because if you don't configure a page visit trigger, it will trigger on every single page, which is what we want to achieve. Now we want to use a filter and set this filter to find all the people who haven't been active on the website for the last, 7 hours, for example. So if the last seen attribute is more than X minutes ago, and I will include 600 because then we'll get like 10 hours. So if the user is absent on the website for more than 10 hours, I will continue the automation. And now I want to send a chat message. So when the user meets those requirements, then I want to send this message. And I will say, hi, welcome back on our website. What can I do for you? Of course, the message will be sent from my account. The size will be medium, so it will look like this. And this message will be used in the last active conversation. So if I talked with this person before and he comes back, then in the same thread, this message will appear in the same thread as the messages before, as the previous conversation. Right, so I want to save it now. And now let's think about this. So every time someone comes to my page, I check when was the last time they visited the page. And if it's more than 10 hours, I send a message. But, as I said, I only want to send this message once. So what I will do now is I will tag this user so that the next time he comes back, I check if he has this tag, which means that he has already received this message. So I'm going to go to tags, add a tag after sending the message. I will call the tag welcome back message, copy this content, click here, save. Alright, so whenever I send this message, I also add this tag. And now I have to enrich the filter so that it looks for this tag. So the tags is not this. So tags do not include this tag. Alright, let's save it. Now we can save this automation. I will call it welcome back on the website. I will not assign any category or description, which you should, by the way. And now the timing. I want to trigger this automation every time the condition is met. So every time this trigger gets activated, I want to run this action. Why is that? Because I know I will only once send this message because I assigned this tag. So I do not have to use the once. I can easily use each time the condition is met. I want to activate this action and save it. Right, so the automation is up and ready. In this automation, what we're going to create is a new deal each time someone provides their email address in the chat widget. So how are we going to do that? First, we want to find out when someone actually sends you a message and that person doesn't have an email address yet. So we're going to use the incoming message trigger. Now I'm going to configure it, of course, for a chat message because this is what I want to trigger it with. And now the timeout, I'll select it for 300 seconds. And now what timeout is? So let's say you have a conversation and the user sends you 10 messages. In most cases, you will not want to trigger the automation with every message. You will only want to trigger it with the first message. So what timeout does is that it lets you select the number of seconds that has to pass before the previous message so that the automation is triggered on a given message. So in this setting, this will trigger only if the previous message has been sent more than 300 seconds before. Now the second element will be a filter. because we want to find out if the user has an email address. And of course, we only want to continue for people who do not have any value here. So the email is unknown. Right, save. Now the next element is going to be a delay, because we want to give them time, like 5 minutes, and see if they provide the email address in the chat widget. So delay, and I will select it for 5 minutes. Okay, so after 5 minutes, I will check again if the user now magically has the email address. So I'll use the filter and go with email has any value. So the user sent us a message, he didn't have the email address, then we waited 5 minutes, and suddenly he has the email address. Now what? Now of course I'm going to create a new deal. So new deal, I will chat widget deal, will be worth $150 US. Pipeline 1, and it will be assigned to me, of course. I will have 14 days to close the deal, save it, and now I can save this automation. I will call it incoming chat message email deal creation, and it will be triggered each time this condition is met. Alright, we can now run this action and save it. In this automation, what I want to do is send a simple chat message asking the user if I can help him somehow after the 4th page view. Why is that? Because, sometimes when you land on a new website, you just want to read what's going out there, and only then you will have the opportunity to ask questions, because at first you don't even have any questions. So this is why we do not ask the user if they have any questions at the 1st page view. We do that at the 4th page view. So how are we going to do that? First, of course, page view trigger. We do not have to configure it, because if you don't configure it, it will fire on every page view, and this is exactly what we want to achieve. Now a filter. This filter of course has to find the people who only have 4 page views. So page views, exactly 4. So when this page view is the 4th page view, then I want to send a chat message. And I'm going to write, hello there, do you have any questions? It'll be a medium size message, and it will create a new conversation. Of course, it will be sent by me. Now I can save this, and there's one last thing, because it might happen that before the 4th page view, someone already asked me a question. So how do we stop the system from sending this message in a situation where the user already talks with you? So what I'm going to do is use filter and select last heard from is unknown. So this means that this user has never communicated with you via email or chat. Now I can save this, run this on every time the condition is met. So every time this is true, the action will be triggered. And I'll call this automation, can we help you for page views? Okay, let's save it, and the automation is ready.